Barb was in pain. Her body was breaking down, she was stuck in a job she hated, and doctors were handing her one diagnosis after another, none of them with real answers. For years, she believed this was just her life. But then something shifted, a quiet nudge, a book she couldn't ignore, and the decision to follow a path she didn't fully understand, only that it felt true. In this episode, Barb shares the turning point that cracked everything open and how that moment led her into hypnotherapy, past life work, and a spiritual path that helped her remember who she truly is. We talk about the soul behind our suffering, the wisdom in our symptoms, and why healing doesn't always look like what we expect. If you've been waiting for something to change, this might be what you've been waiting to listen to. Barb Angelo, thank you so much for being here. I am so excited to talk to you because if the last 5 minutes is anything to go by, we are going to have a laugh and we are going to have a good time telling your story, which is what we're here for. And I'm going to start straight away with asking you this question that I often ask. And that's, in this period of your life, what is your mission? What is it that you're here to do?
So I've been told by my husband, calls them the peeps, my peeps, that I'm here to uplift humanity. And when I heard that, I said, oh, that's not a big one. Okay. I'm here to uplift humanity. But guess what? I've met so many people that have felt the same way. And what I understand is, and what I wrote down, because there were some specific things, it's to help people with suffering. And that sounds huge. And 10 years ago, I would have ran in the other direction because to me, suffering is like, heavy. And I don't want to go there. And I think as I'm talking, I'm getting the visual of being pulled down with somebody when they're suffering. And I realize there's this whole wave of souls, you included, who are here now that are offering a hand, but we're not here to get pulled down into it. We're here to help lift people up. And it's when they're ready to be lifted up to show them, to teach them a little bit. And by sharing stories and things like that, that's another way of really helping people.
I was reading your profile on Orykl and your story, and I absolutely loved it because it rang like you were really almost like serious about it, in the sense that I value people that value their work. And I sense that you valued your work because you know how much you can impact somebody's life. And I feel that this is such important work that perhaps as in society, we don't take a very, like it's very important. You know, we have other things that we put way above our spiritual understanding of life. And we shouldn't. We should put this as a priority, because if we understand who we are, what we are here to do, and how we can make it better, then everything changes. Then we don't have to worry about work or, you know, the little menial things of every day, because we have a completely different viewpoint of life. Anyway, what were some of the themes for you growing up that you kind of wrestled with? What is it that was in it for you in this lifetime that you had to learn?
Oh boy, because I've been writing this now, I'm writing a book and thinking about my childhood. As a kid, I always felt different, strange, and this might sound funny, I knew that I could look around and see how I could fit in. So I think that's being something of an empath, but also very intuitive, to know how to work a room when you're 6. And to say, if I'm funny, okay, that will work. So it almost was like being a little alien and saying, how do these earthlings operate? Let me see how I can blend in and be one of them. But I always knew that I had a purpose. I was highly artistic, highly creative. I loved being in my imagination. I still am that way. And that's another thing that I say to people now: be curious, have fun. Your soul is here to do that. It's here to express itself. And I did all that up until probably teenage years. And then we really look around and we go, this isn't cool anymore.
Did you paint? Did you do some art and artsy stuff like that growing up?
I I wasn't a serious painter, but I love working with my hands and I loved just
Okay.
making little things. So I made jewelry, I painted furniture, I painted clothing. I loved in school when we were given a project that included a diorama. Do you remember those? And you had to, oh, it was, and you could use your imagination. And I would take an old like shirt box and put sand in it and make an oasis, and a troll doll would be, somebody who lived in Egypt, and I dress them and make clothing for them, those kinds of things. And I realized that I can do that with my life too. What do you want to create for yourself? And you can use this instead of your hands, or you can do both.
Before you read this book, right, Many Lives, Many Masters, that I know was massive for you
Mhm.
and got you very much onto the journey that you're on now. Before that, what was your life like?
Well, 20 years ago, just about 20 years ago, I was 40 pounds overweight. I had multiple fractures in both of my feet, so I was wearing a boot cast off and on for about a year or two. I was told I had an autoimmune disease and that maybe I had RSD, which is an awful chronic pain disease, and I would probably just have to live with it my whole life. And I believed that. I believed what doctors told me, and I became that sick person, and I became depressed, and I was dependent on whatever they gave me, and whatever diagnosis I was given, I accepted it. I had read Many Lives, Many Masters years before that, and it really clicked. Something clicked. And I tucked away the part that he said it was hypnosis, that he used hypnosis. Something came up on the newly computer. We didn't have, weren't using Google that much then. And there was a hypnosis class, a hypnosis training. And that was the first step that I took, that I actually in action. And I was on short-term disability from a job that I hated, doing outside sales. And I started training at night and driving an hour back and forth to become a certified hypnotist. And that really was the starting point for everything.
Why were you in that situation?
I look back now and I didn't know. They were only, doctors only look for the physical, what's going on in the body, and how that works. And now, thank goodness, people have caught up, scientists, researchers, holistic practitioners of the mind, body, and spirit connection. And I wasn't on my path. I wasn't doing what I was here to do. And I think my body said no, giving me fractures in my foot. Literally, I couldn't move in that direction anymore. And I had time now to really kind of explore. And what I did, which is key, and I would like to tell everybody, is follow your curiosity. That's your soul. Oh, this looks interesting. I remember that book that made such an imprint, such an impact on me. When I took my first training, that led to then, I would say I've been training and learning for at least 10 years or more. Put a lot of time, like you said, you perfect your skill. I'm serious about what I do. I had to take the initial training to then move on to past life regression training, but that had been my goal all along. I knew in my heart and my head, like, this is the stuff. There were so many elements to that, so many healing elements to that, that I found utterly fascinating. And that was just one case that Dr. Brian Wise had. I've seen
Mm.
hundreds now as the person who's conducting these sessions, how they've helped heal
Wow.
people.
Tell us a little bit about hypnotherapy and maybe also about your channeling work, because I know you mix them often. But how do people heal through hypnotherapy or in one of your sessions?
So many people will say to me that they never relax, that they know they should meditate, but they don't. That's fine. It is going into a physically, you're relaxed, you're relaxing your body, you're relaxing your thinking mind. The door opens to the higher self and the subconscious. That can happen in 10 minutes. And the channeling comes in with me talking to people. The energy of the words that I say are guiding them safely to a place that they have their own little kingdom inside of them, where I believe the answers are. And they can be simple answers. I don't force anything. I'm there as a witness to ask questions and to guide. And then afterwards we'll discuss. And I help them to interpret, because it is, everybody has a different soul language. And I also share and teach them how to start listening to their own soul and how the soul communicates with them. And it will communicate with images, metaphors, colors, memories, showing you, remember this? Remember when this happened? This color, oh, wow, this color feels great. What is this? Okay, that could be your healing color. It's a presence. And when
Mm.
people have these experiences, they're amazed. And I'll say, and it's right there, it's natural. You can do it. Anybody can do it. You don't need a hallucinogenic. You don't
Mm.
need all these rituals and steps and things. It's right there. But it is, I hate to use the word harness, but it really is about learning for yourself how
Yeah.
I work, how my soul communicates, what I need to know, listening, and then it's paying attention to it, really observing and listening in a non judgmental way, because mentally we're always judging, aren't we? What's right, what's
Yeah.
wrong, what I should do, what I did before, how I'm not worthy, all of that thought chatter. And in hypnosis, that takes a back seat. And that's the beauty of it too.
Yeah. So would you say that one of the benefits of hypnosis is that you take a step back and look at your life from a soul level, and in that way align with what you came here to do? How do you help them align to what they came here to do, to find their purpose?
And that is not just one session. We open the door with one session. I used to do single past life regression sessions. It was a training ground, so it really helped me. I would do 2 a day, 3-hour sessions, and work with hundreds of people. And it's too much. It's too much. And there's too much expectation to think, oh, in a
Mm.
couple of hours, I'm going to solve all my challenges and issues. So to help someone align, we open the door. We understand first what's holding you back, the root cause of things. There could be many root causes of many different things, beliefs, physical symptoms, and talk to the soul and ask the soul, what are you here to do? What is your mission? What is part of that? It is not like when I said in the beginning, I'm here to uplift humanity. That it sounds so grandiose, like, oh, I am here. We're all here to do that. We're all here to help each other, but we can do it in a fun way as well, which is sharing stories. Musicians, they uplift people. We're all here to do that.
Yeah.
We have missions and a purpose and a plan, and we also come in to learn lessons. And what comes with that is challenges, meaning in the past, maybe you had this experience. So now we may give you that same experience, and how are you going to learn from it, or what are you going to do differently? And so the soul alignment, again, I've worked with people off and on for a couple of years. Sometimes it's 3 or 6 sessions. A lot of it, though, is 3 sessions. And then here are some tools now that you can practice, and then just start living it. You know now how to recognize those things, and how to talk to your soul every day, to check in with it, to pay attention to things.
Yeah. Why, it's a question. Why do you think that if we know this, and I agree, and I'm sure most people listening to this agree, why don't we do it on a daily basis? Why do we doubt ourselves? Why do we not love ourselves? Why do we judge ourselves? I mean, we know it, right? And if you point it out to people, they might even recognize it. So how come we're so slow?
Do you know, I think there's a core theme for almost every human, which is not being worthy, and even worthy of the attention that we can put on things that we know are important. We've gotten lost in the distractions of the outside world, and they are pulling at us constantly. And so we, the ego, the personality, the analytical mind says, no, no, this is more important, what's happening. The other stuff really isn't important. And we put
Yeah.
the importance on that. And it is that worthiness, that do I deserve this? What if I do connect? What if I do feel all that? I'm guilty of it myself.
Yeah.
I think when people are with me and they'll say, oh gosh, I had such a great experience, and a couple months later, all of a sudden they're back in this world again, and they forget it. It's tucked away, but they know they can do it, which is why I think it really does help to have somebody else. It really does help to have a guide, a person that's there, that you set aside the time for, like anything, therapy, working out, going to the gym, meeting up with friends, connecting with people. It's having that connection. But I think there's a huge epidemic of shame and low self-worth. And I think that has come from many, many incarnations here on this earth plane, which is a very dense, very heavy planet. And that's the way it is. In the in-between, we don't feel that way. We don't. We come here and we forget. We're like, mm.
Yeah, I find my job so interesting because I've learned so much by talking to so many practitioners, and I keep learning because I keep talking to you guys on a daily basis. So I'm being fed a lot of information. And I am amazed at how much there's just out there, how simple and how complex in a way, you know what I mean? What our soul is so complicated. There's
Yeah.
so many layers, so many levels, so many realities. So to try and explain the vastness of all of that in a physical way is very difficult. It's not a time space reality, but it's fascinating, from extra dimensional beings to angels, to the different fragments of us, to our ancestral lineage, to how we carry that energy, to the persecutor's imprint.
Mm.
Crazy stuff, right? It's a vast, vast world that, again, is so worth exploring. And there's fun in that exploration. I'm experiencing so many things that it's become quite fun to see, oh, what else am I going to experience? Because it's like, this is pretty like magical. I'm like, okay. And I'm learning to play the game more and more, you know, the flow game. And I just,
Well,
again, I think that if we can understand all of these things, right? And like, life just gets so much better.
I have a question for you because, again, all the people that you've met, I have my circle of friends and people that I've met, teachers and students, and then you have, bigger circle, I'm sure. I think we all have a story, a perspective, and a knowing, but is it all the same? And trying to explain it to somebody else. And what I have issue with in the past, and I think it's getting a little bit better, is when people say, no, this is the way it is. This is the only way it is, or I know it, but that is your truth and that is what you know. And again, if we're from different places, and I know that we are now, where I come from, my soul, my mission is different than yours. But I bring a little bit of my own magic, like you bring your magic. And if we all kind of put our magic together, it is incredible and it's amazing. And we get to learn and share, but there isn't just one way. And I love that. I love that,
Yeah.
that every day I can learn something new. And it might be that little piece I take with me and say, let me think about that, or let me try that. In the past, when I was first learning, that might have completely turned me like, oh, wait a minute, this is the way it is. I have to follow this path now, or this ritual, or this healing, instead of, I kind of do my own thing, but it comes from pulling from other people's, what they've shared with me and knowledge and what I've practiced and learned over the years, that now I
Yeah.
can say, this is how it works for me. I don't know if I could teach people that. I don't think any of us could teach exactly what we know and what we do.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it ties into that trusting as well, right? Into trusting yourself, that your uniqueness is what you came here to do and not to follow anybody else's path. And because you got to be aware of that before you allow
You
yourself to
just
follow it.
You just said it. You answered the question you asked a little bit ago, which is, why do you think people don't do more of that? I think it's
Mm.
trust. I
Mm.
think they don't trust the experience, or they don't trust that they know what they're doing, or even to say, let me sit and meditate. Oh, I don't even trust I'm doing it right. So the outside world seems more finite, more like I know what to do here, maybe because it's very material, very solid. And when we're just kind of in ourselves and floating there or closing our eyes, it feels not real enough for a lot of people. And in it, it's amazing. It's the trust, maybe.
I think it's true. People don't trust themselves. The only way you're going to start trusting this is if you start having an actual experience yourself.
Well, when I teach my clients self hypnosis, and I'm finishing up a training, I also teach past life regression, and I've been doing that for about 10 years. There's 3 steps to self hypnosis. I don't even like the word hypnosis or self hypnosis, but trying to find something else. They're not affirmations, they're more than that. That's something that is very small and very simple, and we build on it. And they take 5 minutes, each of them 5 minutes. And it's, here's what you can do, and it's written down, and you listen to me say, walk you through it. I think too that the reason why practitioners are so important, and why people may be coming to the practitioners at Orykl or whoever they go to, is to start that trust in themselves. When you're with someone that can validate or encourage or tell you things that they get about you intuitively, and that is a great place to start as well, because then you say, oh, Okay, they see that
Yeah.
in me. They're encouraging me. Now let me start that practice, or let me commit even further. And I think that that commitment you're talking about, that's where also people are then led to the next step of, what else can I do? What else can I learn? I've been doing this for 5 minutes. Now, what's this Reiki thing I've heard about? Let me try that. Oh, maybe I should take this intuitive development class. That's how I began. That's how almost everyone I know began. Again, following the curiosity, but committing to, I want to learn something for myself. It's helping me. How is it helping me? We wouldn't keep doing it if we weren't seeing some kind of results or some kind of change in something. And that's the measure. We all want to measure, like, what am I getting out of this? You know, you're all looking at it. It's not, to me, I grew up Catholic. I didn't get anything out of church. It was a commitment that my mother made, and we would go and I would sit. I should say that I probably got a little something out of it. But as soon as I was 18, I said, I'm not going anymore, because to me, there was nothing I was getting from it. I wasn't feeling anything from it. It felt like a responsibility and a chore. And
Yeah.
sometimes religion can be that way. Spirituality, to me, it seems like it's much more of a growth, of a choice. I want to find these things. I'm curious about learning these things about myself. How
Mm.
do I fit into this whole big picture?
You just mentioned spirituality, and this is a word that sometimes it's a bit of a thing for some people. How spiritual are you? And there's this spiritual competition. And I will say that spirituality to me is non-competition, is being okay with wherever people are on their paths, whether they're here, there, or anywhere, right?
You know, we're humans. We're in a human body living in this place. I remember when I became a channel, and I laugh so hard now thinking about this and telling the story. I started crying to my husband, and I said, no, now I'm going to have to start wearing muumuus and not shave under my arms and like go meditate somewhere. And he said, are you going to leave me? And I said, I don't know. Because in my mind, that's what you did when those
Like,
things happened. You had to become pious and not become a vegan and do all these things. The barber part said, I'm not doing that. I remember channeling Padre Pio, and the first thing I said was, I'm not going back to the Catholic Church, so please don't think I'm doing that. And it was nothing like that at all, no. But that's the viewpoint that I had, that it was,
yeah.
I am not good enough as I am. I have to really change my ways. Because what is spiritual? What does that mean? It is, wearing a muumuu and just being completely loving and not of earth, not
That's
participating
exactly
in
what it is,
earthly
Bob. That's
things.
exactly what it is. You're not spiritual enough. No, exactly. And I love it. And I actually love the fact that there are so many different people in this journey. I'm starting to see more and more CEOs, very successful people, look towards spirituality because they are smart people and they want to grow. The smart people want to grow. I think, you want to grow,
Hmm.
eventually figure it out. Hey, I'm here to grow spiritually. I'm here to expand. I'm here to learn more. I think you eventually figure it out if you stick around Earth long enough.
Right. Who am I in this world? And I think I see a lot of 30 something, 40 something year olds now who are dynamic entrepreneurs, heads of business, doing really well, successful. And a lot of them are doing the ayahuasca. They're doing mushrooms. They want a spiritual connection of some sort, or an awakening. And that's what they're
Yeah.
doing. And I love when I had a client who, when we first met, and he's telling me all the drugs he's done and everything. He said, wow, maybe I should be in rehab. But he was kidding around. But he said, I knew that he
Yeah.
was looking for something. And we did
Yeah.
one session, our first session together. And at the end, he opened his eyes and he said, that was better than any trip I've ever taken. And I said, and the good thing is that you're back already. You don't have to take hours to come down and recover from it. He saw, he had a vision of a little girl. He was looking out his window of his Brooklyn apartment, brownstone, and saw a little girl with pigtails walk by, blonde pigtails. And he's telling me this, and he said, he started crying, and he said, and I know that's my daughter. And he and his wife had just been talking about starting a family because they had done it all. The travel, they built a business, they had, lived hard, played hard, worked hard. And he said, that's my daughter. And do you know what happened? From that moment on, he started acting like a father who was waiting for his daughter. I didn't do anything. I didn't tell him anything. I didn't try to coach him towards anything. That's who he became. He stepped into that role of father because he knew that that was the next step. And that's what he saw. And that's what's possible for all of us, to be able to see those things and understand those things and understand who we are and what's my next chapter.
All of this stuff, there's just so much. It is definitely worthwhile, and it can heal us also in so many levels. Is there something that you would like to communicate to somebody who's thinking about working with you?
This is what I do with anybody who's considering working with me. Ask yourself why, what it is that you're either looking to find, or what challenge or issue or block you have that you've already been working on. I work with people who have done work. Those are my ultimate clients, and the ones who find me. They have been through therapy. They have been through different things. They have tried things. I don't see people that I'm the first one. I've seen people that have gone to doctors like I did and did all that and came to me and said, I should have come to you first. But they will then go, you know what? All this other stuff didn't really work. I'm going to try this and let's see what happens. So I want people who have introspection and they don't have unrealistic expectations of heal me, because people that go to healers sometimes think they can just lie back and be healed. And it's not about that. It really is about discovering more about yourself. And if you're ready to go there and discover more about yourself, then that's what we're going to do. That's what I love doing with people. Let's open the door and see what's there.
Yeah, it's worth it. That's all I can say. Thank you so much for being on Orykl and for taking this seriously but fun at the same time, and to walking your
That's life.
path. Because
It's
so
serious
thank
but
you so
fun.
much. Yeah.
Thank you for having me.